Welcome back, everyone. Now I'm with Adrian Mack, and he will be talking about hot dogs.
Yes, Hot Dogs. Hot Dogs is a documentary series of films. It's playing at the Van City Theatre. It starts this weekend, Friday actually, and it's what it is. It's a truncated version of a series that plays in Toronto every year, and then they send the favorites out here. We get 9 of them in total. But I'd like to talk about one in particular.
Okay, which one?
Well,
Please share.
let me tell you about this movie. It's called An Honest Liar, and the reason I find it very interesting, I wrote an article about it because it's about a subject that I care about. So I don't know if you've heard of The Amazing Randy. Have you heard of The Amazing Randy? He's a cantankerous elfin stage magician from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. He's a very, very famous man. Prestidigitarian, but in the 70s he took on a new role. He decided that he was going to debunk the New Age movement. He was going to debunk people like Uri Geller. He was going to debunk so-called psychics. What he felt as a magician was that people were being cheated out of their money. They were being lied to by charlatans, and because he knew the tools of the trade, he decided to go out there and publicly humiliate them. He felt that this was God's work that he was doing. It was a very important thing, and he became very famous for it. And this movie, An Honest Liar, looks at his career as a so-called skeptic and a debunker, and it talks about his lifelong battle he had with Uri Geller. If you remember, Uri Geller was a very famous spoon bender from the 70s. He could bend spoons with his mind.
Wow, that sounds really interesting.
It is very interesting.
People always wonder, how does that actually happen, right?
Well, the thing is, I think in Uri Geller's case, and James Randi proved this very, very publicly on the Johnny Carson show one night, he managed to humiliate Uri Geller because he knew how he did his tricks, and anyway, he set him up, and he became very famous for doing this kind of thing. But the problem is, as his career went on, and he helped found things like, Randi was involved in the founding of Skeptical Inquirer magazine, for instance, and he has a thing called the James Randi Educational Forum, which is James Randi Educational Foundation, which is dedicated to the pursuit of rationality, good science. They are at war with magical thinking, charlatans, liars, New Age nonsense. But the problem is they have created a sort of false dichotomy where they tend to throw out the baby with the bathwater and have actually run into problems with the real scientific community and some of the work being done on the fringes of real science, which they tend to angrily debunk. This is not the point, though. Here's the point. The thing about Randi is Randi has a secret.
Oh, what is the secret?
Well, I don't want to tell you because that's why you need to see the film.
Okay.
But it's related to this. In 2010, at the age of, I think, 81 years old or so, James Randi finally came out of the closet. He and told the world that I'm a gay man and introduced the world to his lover of 25 years. And for the life of me, I can't remember his name. But anyway, so he came clean, if that's the right expression. He's an honest man. But it turns out after he did that, something else happened, and that's what I'm not going to tell you about. You really have to see the film. But the point is, there was a very, very large deception at the heart of Randi's life, and it nearly. It might still ruin him. You've got to see the film to find out what exactly. But it's a fascinating documentary, and it's especially fascinating because the man is such a divisive figure. He's such a controversial person. Even if you've never heard of him, trust me, James Randi has had a huge effect on your life, and that's what is great about Hot Docs is they bring these really, really very, very fascinating movies to Vancouver, and that's playing on Saturday night and next Thursday. Thank you for listening.
Oh, thank you for joining us. And that's a lot of information. It sounds like a really interesting to go to this Saturday and next Thursday. So please stay in tune for next week. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Andrew.